I'm Chaya, co-founder and CEO of Life School of Leadership Arts. To best explain to you why and how project-based learning is the most effective way of delivering academics to our students, I want to share with you two stories, two examples really. I want to share with you an example from either end of the spectrum, from the preschool and from the high school end of the spectrum. So let's start with preschool. I want to give you an example from just earlier this year where our preschoolers did a learning unit on transportation. So of course, all preschoolers love everything related to trains, planes, automobiles, you name it. Every project-based learning unit is roughly 9 weeks long. And there is a central driving question that motivates and inspires the entire unit. So we take all of the core academic skills that need to be learned during any particular unit, and then we weave them into that theme. So all of their math, their English, their literacy preparation, their math readiness, counting, patterns, grouping, everything at the preschool level would be delivered into this theme of transportation. Same thing with learning how to follow instructions, learning how to cut, and color inside the lines, learning how to work together as a team, learning how to do individual work, group work, one-on-one with the teacher. All of these things are done under the umbrella of this unit. So for 1 week, we had a pilot come in and talk to the class about his career as a pilot, and he brought videos and footage of his life as a pilot. We had a police officer from the city of Phoenix come in, and he actually brought in his armed car and brought it into the back parking lot, and the kiddos got to take a field trip out to his car, and they got to experience what life is like in the front seat and in the back seat of the police car. They got to do the sirens and speak to him, look at his sergeant's badge, all that kind of great stuff. Just really bringing it to life. 1 week, they all made their own model cars out of Amazon boxes. Another week, we did a full hands-on project, and we took our courtyard, our corridor, and we painted it into a racetrack, and all the parents donated wiggle cars so that the children still to this day are able to benefit from that project-based learning unit that delivered the benefit of a full functioning racetrack every single day to our school. And then just by divine providence, at the end of the unit, the Phoenix Science Museum was doing a traveling exhibit on transportation. So we loaded up all the kids, the preschoolers and their parents, and took them to the museum as a grand finale. So understand, by the end of the unit, after having gone through all of these full-on immersion experiences with transportation, which do you think they're going to remember more? Reading about cars in a book or experiencing every modality of transportation during these 9 weeks? And then, of course, at the end of every unit, there is a presentation of learning. Starting at 3 years old, our kiddos are learning presentation and communication skills because they are giving a presentation and hosting their families to explain and deliver what they learned during these 9 weeks. Now, you can imagine that getting ready for the presentation, they're also learning time management, organizational skills, and everything else that goes into delivering a big presentation. So that is at the preschool level. Now, fast forward all the way to the other end of the spectrum. What would project-based learning look like for high schoolers? So to explain this to you, I want to share with you how I witnessed it myself. I took my son and we went and visited a school that centers around project-based learning in Indonesia, of all places. And this school, this is during the process of us doing tons of research and figuring out what are the best practices on the planet, literally around the globe, to bring in to our children that are going to maximize their learning experiences and set them up for success throughout their lifetime. That's how we ended up at this school in Indonesia. Now, this school is an expat school, so it means all of the children that go to the school are kids of expatriates, professional men and women in Europe and North America, and they are in Indonesia on business. And so their kids are learning in this school, and then they also bring in a percentage of the local kids to make it very authentic. So it's a very diverse background. Kids from multiple different continents, multiple different life experiences, some very privileged, some extremely underprivileged, and they're all working together in a beautiful setting that these school founders have created there in Indonesia. But what I found so fascinating is how they brought project-based learning to light. So these are expat kids, so they are expecting a lot, very, very high standards for their own children, obviously. So they have a very strong STEM program. STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and math. We call it STEAM because we insert arts into the middle of it. So whether it's STEM or STEAM, what did we learn from this school? So the entire school, and it was probably 50 to 100 acres, I'm guessing. It was a massive, massive facility. And the entire campus was irrigated by the school's 11th graders who used one of their STEM projects through project-based learning to learn about engineering, irrigation, obviously all of the math that goes into that, all of the science that goes into that, and then they master planned how to do an above ground irrigation system for this entire campus that, by the way, the students on this campus grow over 80% of what they eat, and they built the entire irrigation system to support this type of sustainable living. So you want to ask yourself, how prepared are these high school graduates to go out and add value to the world around them? Also ask yourself, how much of a leg do they have up on their college entrance application when they are telling you, oh, by the way, I just irrigated my entire high school? So that is another example of the power of project-based learning, because what it does is it brings the learning to life. So in a nutshell, the massive benefits of project-based learning are twofold. Number one, it makes learning fun, interesting, and engaging to all of the students, because it's not just boring front of the classroom linear learning where they're reading through a textbook and literally falling asleep all throughout class. And the second reason that it's so powerful is because they are engaged, and because they are loving what they're doing, and because it's very hands-on organic learning, then they are internalizing what they're learning, and it's staying with them for life. Not like how you and I worked really hard to memorize the data long enough to pass the test, and then whoop, it went in one ear and out the other, and we forgot it before we graduated. So that is the other massive, massive benefit of project-based learning, and that is exactly why we use it here at Life as we build out our cradle to college curriculum and system. Hope that helps. Feel free to reply and ask me if you have any questions about project-based learning.